I excavated every piece of sand. Tell you one thing also.
It's the craziest thing to say.
I am the only Egyptologist who have an open mind.
Oh, he's the worst?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He's the most closed-minded person there ever has been. Joe is trying to really get answers here. We're watching Zahi Hawass and Joe Rogan talk about ancient Egypt. And Zahi is very difficult.
Who is this guy?
So Zahi Hawass, the only guy allowed to excavate in Egypt. He's the gatekeeper. He doesn't hold the title anymore, but the Ministry of Antiquities still goes to him first for everything. He gets to go do the digs before anyone else. If someone comes to him with an idea, he can tell them no and then go do it himself.
Oh, he's the worst?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
He takes credit for every discovery.
So why did Rogan have him on? He thought he was going to get some cool info, some new info?
If you ask him, he knows everything about ancient Egypt. There is no mystery.
Okay,
He
good.
solved all the mysteries.
Himself.
Okay. He's discovered everything himself.
Okay.
He is the only person that's right. And I want to show some of the clips. Joe is trying to really get answers here.
Because most of the information that's written on pyramids are wrong.
Most of it?
So stop right there. He has a book. Everything is in his book, apparently. The only thing you can trust about ancient Egypt is in his book. And for some reason, nothing in his book is published on the internet. Joe and Jamie spend the whole episode Googling and looking for everything he talks about. They can't find a picture or a mention of one thing that he says. Why are you the only one who has a book that has nothing published on the internet in it? It's just bizarre. He starts off the interview, like we just saw, saying, everyone is wrong about ancient Egypt, except for me. I'm the only one that knows.
Really?
Except me.
Oh, literally, that's what he said.
You guys are the only ones that have it right?
Because have been working in Giza for the last 57 years of my life.
Okay.
This book is the
No
Bible
one else has worked in.
He called his
of
book
the pyramids
Bible.
of Giza Plateau. I excavated every piece of sand. Okay. And I want to tell you one thing also.
It's the craziest thing to say.
I am the only Egyptologist who have an open mind.
What's he talking about?
I always look at what the public say. And I will tell you about this later.
It's come up.
He just said that he's the only Egyptologist with an open mind.
That's the craziest thing.
It's the craziest thing. He's the most closed-minded person there ever has been. He won't debate anyone, and he won't let people have access to any of the ancient sites. So for him to say he's the only Egyptologist with an open mind, just that sentence alone shows you the mindset of this guy.
Yeah.
He wrote the Bible on Egypt. He's the only one who's right, and he's the only Egyptologist who has an open mind.
I sort of like him.
Everything he said so far is the opposite of having an open mind.
Yeah,
so as it goes on, Joe gets so frustrated with him, it's hilarious.
Satellite radar, where they think that there's these pillars underneath the structure.
We covered this on the show.
Investigated this. First of all, these two scholars from Italy, they have never been in Egypt. They have never worked in the pyramids before.
Meaningless.
So here's what I'm understanding.
Yeah.
Is unless you like touch the sand, you have no idea what's going on there.
They're using satellites. You don't need to be there.
Yeah, if you're using a satellite, you need to be where the satellite is pointed.
Yeah.
That's the only way it works. You need to look at the satellite and
the
it needs to look at
purpose
you.
of the technology is so that you don't
have to be there and dig. I
that's
know.
it. But no, so they can't be right because they're not there. He has more reasons why they're not right, and Joe,
dude, I sort of love this
has
guy.
to deal with it. Yeah.
From Italy, they have never been in Egypt. They have never worked in the pyramids before.
Right. But they're using satellite information.
Number two, this journal do not send their article to the freeze. You pay a fee to publish the article.
They didn't pay the
in
fee
your
to publish.
responsibility.
What the does that mean?
Number three,
Means they're wrong.
I am not
didn't
a
pay.
scientist. I took this techniques that they used and I gave it to expertise. No way.
Do you know about the Osiris shaft? How they've got a
I
scanned?
discovered it.
Yeah, you did, right?
Yes.
There's
no way.
This tomographic
No,
radar and they-
no,
I
I am
built-
the one who found it.
Pyramid. I built pyramid.
Basically. Yeah.
Sphinx. My face.
Right. Yeah, I think
This guy's
that's what he
insane.
wants. All Joe's trying to do is say they use the same technology on the Osiris shaft.
Yeah.
He can't get there because as soon as Osiris shaft comes, I discovered it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. But But the technology that you're saying doesn't work, they used it on the Osiris shaft.
No.
No way!
Discovered it. Yeah.
No one's saying you didn't find it. Joe asked to even say at one point, like, why do you always think everyone's attacking you?
Why the f would you say that? Everyone always says
Why
that.
are you always under the defense? He's on the defense constantly. Okay.
I hate him.
Pillars under the coffer, that's a big discovery. Imagine if that's true.
We talked about it.
Yeah.
I know.
And we saw them and what they look like. They look like spiral staircases
It's very
that go
fascinating.
600 feet under the ground into these big open box. Let's go down there and figure it out.
No, dude.
He won't even look because as far as he's concerned, the technology isn't real. So why even try? Why even go try?
Jared, the people are from Italy, dude. What don't you understand?
Yeah, they've never been to
How
Egypt.
could they know anything about pyramids if they live in Italy, Jared?
They didn't pay the fee to publish the article. If you don't pay the fee, then it's not real science.
Everybody knows that.
Think about how sick that is. That in order for it to be real science,
Well, what is this
you have
fee?
to pay a fee to publish in a scientific journal. They
Okay.
published elsewhere. We have the internet now. You can just put something out there. Because they didn't spend the money, which was their responsibility, to publish in in a specific journal, it's being dismissed.
He's the only open-minded
The only
Egyptologist.
open-minded Egyptologist.
And I think that's clear as day.
yeah.
In this
He wrote
clips.
the Bible on ancient Egypt.
No, he wrote the Bible full stop.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Okay.
They showed that it exists using the same technique.
No. This is wrong. This is not true
Dude, him
at
even-
all.
Yeah, he
Shows
looks at Jamie
that
like
they got an accurate depiction of that from space.
They're even showing
That's
it to
not
him.
true.
from satellite. It's not true.
No.
So what are you saying, that they're lying? So
They're
this
lying.
right here.
They're completely lying.
They're
But if they're
He's
showing
willing to say they're
using these
lying.
techniques, things that we know that you
you don't
discovered
give a
that
fuck.
absolutely exist.
Now, these techniques, as I told you, scientists said that these techniques cannot show 600 feet under the pyramid. The Osiris shaft that I found was only 50 feet.
Right, but
under
it's
the ground.
showing
A
at
second
least
ago,
for
they
50
never found
feet
it.
that this
Yeah.
is accurate. What makes you believe those scientists rather than these guys from Italy?
Because the
touch the
scientists are
sand.
scientists.
Well, these are scientists as well.
They are not showing their techniques carefully. They are not.
What do you mean they're not showing their techniques carefully?
That means
the
nothing.
techniques that they said. Show it to any scientist. No one can tell you this is accurate.
Not one.
Every person who knows about radar, ultrasound, all the people work with me.
Work with him.
The
Yeah.
Scan Pyramid project.
500 BC, those are even more recent than the older stuff. Tell me about Zep-Tepi.
What's Tip-Tippy? What's this?
Have you heard about about the King's List, right? The old King's List. that
I
goes
wrote
back
the King's List.
30,000
to pretend he's
whatever
never heard
years.
of Zep-Tepi.
Who said that?
is
You never
bullshit.
seen it? It's not in hieroglyphs.
This is not true.
It's not
at
true?
all. No.
No?
This is a speculation from people who
So
knows
he's
nothing.
aware of it. He's pretending
About
not to
history.
be.
That's
So why
yeah.
the
that's-
first
he's a
saying-
How do you
liar.
know it's
Because they
speculation?
don't know.
Even though there is like some hieroglyphics of ancient kings, that these are just mythical tales.
This is not true. There is no.
Is he reading his
at
own
all
book?
A name that
he
you
just
told
has
me. I
paper.
never heard of this name. Never
heard of this
king
name.
list at all.
Never?
Never. And
You never
no-
even heard of it?
Why I have to hear about it? Because it's not true.
Why do I have to hear about
waste
it?
my time.
It's not true.
And things like this.
That is the statement only a man who is being willfully ignorant
It's
can
the
make.
most closed-minded thing you could possibly say.
Yeah, that's literally you saying like,
Yeah,
I don't want to know about anything else.
literally.
I'm certain that what I know is true.
yeah. So
And everything else-
there's nothing more to be
La, la, la.
learned.
Yeah.
Speculation is what leads to new discovery. You're not willing to listen to speculation. You're not willing to listen to anything at all. Like that's what he's saying. Why would I listen to it if I didn't discover it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He would be
that's what he's
the guy thousands of years ago who's like burning people who don't believe that Apollo is carrying
There
the
you go.
sun across the
Yeah.
sky. He's like, no, we've already did this. We already figured it out.
Yeah.
Here's what it is.
There's no
Jared, he's
reason to
literally
go back
excavated
over.
every grain of sand in Egypt
Yeah.
per him.
Yep.
Every grain of sand.
That's it.
He knows more than all of us combined.
I am a person. Give me a fact.
You've never heard of that before?
No, and this is not true.
What do you mean it's not true? I mean, this
It's
is.
just-
I'm getting this
It
off.
never happened
It never
at
happened.
all.
Okay, I'm not saying it happened. I'm just saying that this is something that's referred to.
It's
Nope.
I never heard about it. It is not true. It does not existed
Even,
at all.
even
How is
if
it
it
not
doesn't
true?
I hate
exist,
it.
the myth of it exists.
I don't listen, Joe.
Yeah.
Joe is
he's
at his
so
wits' end.
pissed. I think he went into this thinking it was going to be really good.
Like, dude, I'm about to hear
This is
from the
guy.
horse's mouth.
Yeah, the expert. There's a lot of revelations made on the show, but there's no proof to any of them. And
Oh, it's just him like saying.
yeah, like saying that he knows how they built the pyramids and has proof of how they did it.
But doesn't say.
He says it's in his book, but they can't find it online. None of his answers are meaningful. It's really frustrating.
I love him.
Joe, why do I have to go to a myth of people
But this
create
is-
stories?
If you go to Wikipedia,
I
it's
don't
listed.
care about Wikipedia.
I understand.
I can't.
Creation myth.
Fine.
You've never heard of that before?
Never heard of that.
That
because-
seems strange that you didn't hear about that before.
Listen,
because
listen, Joe.
I've heard of it before.
Yeah, fine, you can hear about
I mean,
it.
I just found it
It's
online.
it's a new age theory.
It's New Age?
Yes.
How do you
Listen
know
to
that?
me. I
You've
know.
never heard of it.
I never heard of it.
I've never heard of it, but it's
can't
wrong.
have
It's
opinions
new
on
age,
things you don't
and
know
it's
about.
Speculation. Yeah.
You can't do both.
Yeah.
You can't do both. You can't know enough about it to disprove it and claim you've never heard of it.
Exactly. If you'd never heard of it, maybe it's something you should look into, not something you should just dismiss outright.
Dude, if it's literally
what are we
something you've never
talking?
heard of and Joe Rogan's saying to you, hey man, this thing,
Yeah.
wouldn't you be like, oh, what about this thing? Jamie, pull it up. What are we talking
Exactly.
about?
Yeah.
Instead of, nope. La, 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 la.
That's how you know he has heard of it.
Of course.
And that he's trying to pretend that it's so meaningless.
Dude, this guy
Yeah.
sucks.
Yep, he sucks.
And I don't want to hear about it.
You don't want to
I
hear
don't
about
want to
it?
hear about it. He said those words. I don't even want to hear about it. Dude, this is the
Shut up.
gatekeeper of Egypt for 50 years.
That's why, we don't know.
We're all
anything.
trying to find out the secrets behind these things, and this is why we can't.
Base the dates on. Do you base it on carbon isotope?
No, we don't. We
No?
based dating on the evidence that we discover.
Right, but
Like
some of it
dynast-
is based on carbon, right?
No,
Carbon testing.
I don't believe in carbon date 14.
He doesn't
Oh,
believe
you
in
don't?
carbon
no,
dating.
Carbon date 14 never give an accurate
And that's up.
dating. Then we know from books, from Judaism, from the beginning, that the ancient Egyptians were really highly in magic. Then we can believe.
Do you think that magic might have had something to do with how they constructed the pyramids?
Dude.
No?
No. Yeah,
Wouldn't they use that magic for other
He believes
things?
they had magic.
but we have.
But if you believe in magic,
I do, of course.
you do believe in magic.
Yeah.
So you believe that someone could take someone's head off, put it back
This
on.
it's written.
Okay, then it must be true.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah.
He believes because it was written on a scroll, a guy was able to remove someone's head and put it back on their body, and they would live through that. And that it was displayed for a king using a goose.
Yeah.
He removed the head of the goose, put it back on, the
Yeah.
goose was fine.
Magic.
And that magic he believes in because it was written. But he doesn't believe in carbon dating.
Yeah.
He doesn't believe in Zeptepi.
Wait, you think they could use that same magic to build the pyramids? You idiot!
Literally, yeah.
You're
He had
so
to-
dumb.
So if they had this
Sticks and
magic,
stones and mud, dumb.
you said you believed in this magic, but you don't believe they had the ability to levitate stones, or like that's kind
They
of
can
where he's
only use
getting at.
magic
Nope.
to put heads back on.
So what he said,
Exclusive magic.
his discoveries is that he found hieroglyphics in the Great Pyramid. So this is the first time that that's ever happened. There are no hieroglyphics in
Yeah.
any of the three Giza pyramids.
Apparently there are.
He found them hidden behind a stone, behind a stone, behind a stone, using a robot and then a camera. He slid in there,
No, he didn't.
and he can't tell you what it says because it's written in cursive hieroglyphics.
Oh, yeah.
Very hard to decipher the cursive hieroglyphics, and he believes that it's the names of the guys that built
You know, it'd be
the
great.
pyramids that they signed their
What's
work.
this idiot's name?
Zahi Hawass.
They'll be like, tonight on the 6 o'clock news, Mr. Zahi Hawass found unalived in his apartment 3 weeks ago. This guy's just some dude.
no,
coming out. Yeah.
nothing.
Yeah.
That's why he has no answers.
Yeah.
You gotta read the book.
Have you heard of the King's list? No, but it's
Yeah.
wrong.
It's wrong.
idiot.
New age speculation.
Yeah. Wait, how would you?
Yeah. Wow. That's a lot. You have a lot to say about something you've never heard of before. Most frustrating conversation ever. I could do a whole episode about just this guy because he's finally on display. We know who he is now. That we've never had this opportunity. We've only seen him in these curated little bites here and there.
Yeah.
Now we've seen him on display for a full 2 hours. and he is truly
Horrific. He's
the worst person you could have in charge of a whole.
He's like looking at his
historical
face
site.
upsets me. Listening to his voice and the words that come out of his stupid face upset
We'll
me.
never solve any of the mysteries of Egypt as long as that guy is holding the keys.
Dude, but
we
how
have to get rid of him.
How many
Get him out of
areas
there.
of science is this the case? Where there's these old school gatekeepers that are just like,
Unfortunately,
no,
all of them.
every type.
It's
of
pretty
science.
rough.
The end of Loki season 2.
Yeah.
Him with the green
It
time.
sounds like something I would make up. It really does. But it's real.
A ghost, a ghoul, a goblin, a monster, a werewolf.
Went on and wrote in the comments, I was going to say that came out great.
You're off to a great start.
Yeah. We got some fun stuff planned today. We got some goods.